But right now I'm a recovering under-earner. Again, my name is Matt. And just to catch you up on what happened, how we were using the time that we allocated, there was a whole lot of discussion, which was vital. You know, the intention was, how do we create a foundation that supports the deepest and broadest recovery for those under-earners who are still suffering? So there's formalities that have to happen. We have to get things put into place. For example, how do we vote? So we had quite a bit of really intense and lively and heated discussion about how to vote. And then we voted on how to vote. And once that was put into place, then what happened in the course of these Tuesday night, Wednesday, and Thursday, what happened then was we broke off. People had volunteered to be part of committees, or they were already on committees. There's the Literature Committee, there's the Service Structure Committee, there's the Public Information Committee, there's the Finance Committee, there's I know I'm forgetting one of them, this Phone and Technology Committee. So that covers, and the World Service Committee. Yeah. So those committees all had to have support, get clear about what their visions and goals, and then proper actions would be for the coming year, how we can best serve. What we also had was every GSR that was represented came up and spoke with a list that they had accumulated from concerns from their meeting. So all of those voices got to be heard. From that point, the committees took what they had heard and what they understood to be primary concerns, put them into motions, and then the motions were then brought up to the group as a whole. Ultimately, each committee passed a motion, and I'll address that real briefly, but every committee put a lot of work and a lot of time into contributing motions that they thought were going to help us move forward. So I know that the Literature Committee passed a motion that, and I don't know if the paper is available online. We're trying to be green about this, but it gives a detailed account of, you know, where we stand in terms of literature. There's a very important distinction that was made, and it is this. There's a question that's come up a lot, especially for those of us who are GSRs, what's conference-approved literature? So the way it was defined here is that we use the term conference-created literature, which is to say that we approve any literature that was created by and for UA. Beyond that, we don't approve or disapprove of anything. That's the official position right now, okay? The Finance Committee submitted and passed a motion which states that they will submit quarterly reports to anyone that, to us as the GSB, and I'll explain the GSB lineup as well, to us as the GSB, and also to those who attend the monthly GSB meetings. So they are responsible to submit quarterly reports, and in those quarterly reports they give us accurate spending plans, not only accurate accounts not only of that quarter, but of the year to date through that quarter. They're also going to submit proposals for spending plans. There was another motion that was passed by was it the Service Structure Committee? Where's Ed? That was your committee, right? And that motion,
Janice is the chair.
Where's Janice? Oh, hi, Janice. So Janice is the chair of that committee, and that motion, in essence, said, here's a way that we want to submit motions to the phone GSB meetings, because we want to make sure that we utilize our time, and we want to honor the time of the people that come up. So that motion, in essence, said that if you submit a motion, you have until the following, which would be another month, you have until the following GSB meeting to have that motion addressed. You have time to discuss it offline. In essence, what we're talking about is do the work on your own, and when you get to the meeting, get ready to address the issue, right? And we want to make as much room for discussion prior to that as possible. So that motion passed. The Public Information Committee offered, and a motion was passed that will help us address in no uncertain terms our interaction with the media. It also directly addresses what UA's official position is, what our purpose is for UA, and what we ask in requirement for a possible media interaction. So that one passed. Service Committee and the GSB. There's another motion, though, that I'm sorry I'm forgetting. Thank you, both of those. The World Service Committee submitted a motion which passed, which is to say that next year's World Service Conference will be held right here at this spot, roughly around the same time. We're looking into being able to wrap it around Labor Day to make it easier for people in terms of travel and more cost efficient for those that have to take time off from work. But next year, this time, we're going to be here. And then the last motion that was passed was proposed by the Phone and Technology Committee, which is to say that each phone meeting must be registered. And there will be a registration process that happens, but the primary qualification for having a registered phone meeting on the official UA website is that that meeting demonstrates a rotation of leadership and service as determined by that meeting's group conscience. So those.
Also the new chair, Tanya.
Yeah, I'm going to announce that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's those are the motions that were presented and that did pass. And then there was voting for the new GSB members, and the chair of the GSB is Tamia from LA, who I want to applaud. And there are two things that are really important to note, that those that took on the mantle of service on the GSB and the World Service Conference up to this point, they did it voluntarily. They weren't voted in. Frankly, I didn't want to do the job. A lot of people I know didn't want to do the job. A lot of people I know, including myself, judged the job that was being done, but of course I didn't want to be of service, right? And they took it for months and months and months, some of them for years, and actually brought it to this place. And they brought it to this place where they gave us an opportunity to have a voice and say, thank you, first of all, thank you, and how can we help moving forward? And they've been a tremendous support to me and to us collectively.
I know Tammy is not here, but why don't we have these officers, if they're in the room, just stand up and just accept the thanks and gratitude that we have. Are they here? Outgoing officers?
Yeah, the outgoing officers should be acknowledged. So Tammy's been elected the chair of the General Service Board. I was elected the co-chair of the the vice chair. Vice chair.
Co-chair.
Co-chair. All right.
You know what? No, it's vice chair.
Yeah, because I have vices, so I'm the vice chair. Tammy is squeaky clean. So Tammy is the chair. I've been elected the vice chair. Misa is the chair of the Information Committee, which she continues. It's a role that she's carried by herself. A lot of grunt work, and she was willing to continue to do that in service to the program. Andrew is going to, you might know Andrew. Andrew's going to continue in his role as the chair of the Treasury Committee. Ed is going to be the chair, the secretary, rather, for the GSB. And Janice is going to continue to be the traditions keeper for the GSB. So that's the new group, and it's our job to take, there was a very well described, and I'll wrap this up. Is it still there? No, because I cleaned it. So there was a very well, Mike laid out a very great description, and if you would imagine an upside down triangle, right? And the top of the triangle is fellowship. And then from there, there are GSRs, and then there's intergroup, and then there is, maybe ideally regional committees and so on and so forth, and then you have committees, and then you have the GSB at the bottom of the triangle. The conference, thank you, the conference, and then the GSB. So that means that it's in no uncertain terms, it's the GSB's responsibility to serve the greater good of the fellowship, period. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that we continue to communicate and develop and evolve in our capacity to communicate with the fellowship. So that's why GSR representation is so important. That's why.
Could I just have a second?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, of course. I was wondering if within that hierarchy you could talk about the role, and we will wrap up quite soon, about the role of the World Service Committee as it relates to this event.
Right.
Because we're sort of this oddball committee.
Right.
We're neither one thing or another.
Yeah, the reality of the role of the World Service Committee is they've done most of the grunt work and gotten probably the least amount of recognition. Right? and they're under-earners. And I don't say that to be funny, but the reality is that this is happening in the face of a dis-ease which can kill people. So if it weren't for those people, the GSB and Steve and Bella, the World Service Committee, we wouldn't be here right now with the peacocks. So their responsibility and their responsibility in the structure of what's happening this weekend and moving forward is how do we create the best possible experience, because this is an event. There were business meetings that happens, but this is not a business meeting. There's GSB stuff that happens, but this is not a GSB event. This is an event for the fellowship of UA, and how do we support that? How does the GSB support that, you know, under the guidance of the World Service Committee, so that we can make this the best possible experience for as many people as we can get to. Is that fair?
Are we doing it again?
Oh, I already announced that.
Ah.
Yeah, you were doing World Service business when I announced that.
We were working.
Yeah, so we're going to be, again, yeah, we will be holding this here next year, roughly around the same time. So in terms of the structure, I just want to say, you know, that's where we're at. So we want to make sure that we continue to spread the word. You know, it being chosen to be held here in LA, I consider it a great honor. I was honored the first time I heard about it. I also consider it a great responsibility. And there's a whole other slew in the middle and in other countries that are looking for recovery, that are desperately looking for recovery. And I see it as part of my 12-step purpose to do what I can to bring that recovery. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who would agree with that. So that is structurally where we're at right now. That's what's been passed in terms of the motions, what's now official. Next year, anything can change. The body has the first and last voice at the end of the day. And ultimately, that's the spirit in which we did all of that. Thank you.
Last night, I suggested an exercise called the I Can See Clearly Now exercise. And what it's about is for, I'm gonna say it again for people who just came in this morning, because it takes time to do it right. The suggested exercise is that we list 20 visions we have in terms of work, of being service to the community. Now, this is not a bucket list. This is not I want to visit Barcelona in the spring. This is not I want to go deep sea diving in Tahiti. This is not I want to, you know, live on a dairy farm for a week. This is about what we think we want to do, what we think we should do, what other people told us we have to do, what we are currently doing that we may not want to do, and coming to the truth. Coming to the truth in us. And it's all about starting with a very simple thing. On a legal page, list 20 things that you are considering doing or thought about doing. It could include the following. Being a psychiatrist, having your own symphony orchestra, being a dog trainer, starting your own circus, becoming an IT consultant, becoming a contractor, becoming a contract consultant, becoming a contractor for the mob. Okay, let's delete the last one. Becoming an Orthodox rabbi, becoming a priest, becoming, you know, Marine, whatever, a helicopter pilot. So the whole idea of it is to list these 20 things and don't judge them, just write them down, 20, one after the other. Don't belabor it, don't think about it, just write down 20. Ideally this morning, since we're at Saturday, and by tonight, after dinner, take 15 minutes, do some prayer, meditation, and eliminate 10. Just scratch off 10. Tomorrow morning, after prayer and meditation, ask for God's guidance and eliminate 8. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have the I Can See Clearly Now meeting, where we're going to come down to everyone's 1 to 2 visions. 1 to 2. So tomorrow, and be prepared just to talk about the 1 to 2 things that are on that page that came out of that 20. You'll notice that after the first 10 that are deleted, the next 8 will be very difficult to eliminate because they're the road to the truth of what we really, really want to do. Questions. Are we lying to ourselves? Are we under the bondage of self that are compelling us to do stuff that we spiritually don't want to do? Because our souls really do know what we want to do. We really do know what makes us alive. I mean, I spent like 15, 20 years in sales. I wasn't alive. I was under the bondage of self. My thing is to entertain. My thing is to be a performer, to serve the community, to serve God, to serve the universe by that skill, music and comedy. That was true when I was 20, but everything I did in terms of work was either the shadow artist or the shadow of the shadow, or just in terms of gloom, of selling really bad greeting cards and a 15-year-old car. It's true, man. I used to drive around the Bronx and go to these little, Queens, and let me have my $100 or $200 order, and then I'd run to another thing. I mean, I was really the living embodiment of eating soup with a fork. Always busy, always hungry. So this is about coming to the truth in us. Again, for the people who are willfully obtuse, I'll say it again. For all the willfully obtuse, when they say, Andrew, what did you say? It's about 20 visions that you think you want to do for the future, or feel you have to do, feel you should do. Eliminating 10 tonight after prayer and meditation to look for God's guidance in that process. Tomorrow, eliminate another 8 after prayer and meditation. And be in the best state that you can. So we don't want to have the disease eliminating things that are really true. And by tomorrow afternoon, we'll have the I Can See Clearly Now meeting, where you will have the 1 to 2 things that your soul really, really wants to do. And I tell you, when you find that out, you will have that voice in your head saying all sorts of fear-based blurts. It'll be blurt anonymous, one blurt after another. One blurt. Give me a blurt. You're
Too stupid.
Too late, not enough time, can't do it, are you crazy? All those blurts will come out. One blurt after another. It'll be like the 4th of July. Blurt, 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 blurt. So what you do, you say, thank you for the blurts. Sit down. Because this is the road back to you. A road back to you, to your truth, to what every person here is a soul. What does your soul want to do? What does your soul want to do? What does your soul want to do? What does your soul really want to do? So let's go through that discovery process with serenity and grace, because the truth will set us free if we could really accept it. Yeah?
How in-depth does this need to be?
The first 20, just write them out. Write what comes to mind.
Sentence is enough.
Yeah, I want to be, you don't even have to write, you just had things that are visions that I have, and write down dentist, doctor, lawyer, clerk, animal trainer, rabbi, plumber, general contractor, maxillofacial surgeon, proctologist. I don't know why he ever chose that profession. Of all the medical specialties, yes.
What if you know what if you love what you're doing?
Say that again.
What if you love what you're doing? If I have maybe 7 things, but not more. But,
Well, just spitball it. I mean, just write another 10. I mean, I'd like you to write 20. And even if they don't seem, you see, the thing is,
what source? Maybe that's the question. What, like, inner child dream?
just put down 20 things, even if they don't make sense. If they don't make sense at all, it'll be easier to eliminate them. Just write down the 20 and trust the process. Yeah. Okay. All right, that's it, guys. Tomorrow afternoon, the I Can See Clearly Now workshop. Thank you.